Plato was an ancient Greek philosopher who believed that there were two distinct worlds. The world of appearances, which is the world that we live in, and the world of ideals, concepts and forms. The world of appearance is based on the fact that everything we see we believe to be real, but everything is changing. Everything is not as it seems, and all of our knowledge is based empirically. By that I mean sense-based. So everything you see or hear you believe to be real because you can see or hear or taste or touch or smell them. But what Plato said is that this world of appearances was based on belief and opinion. And because belief and opinion is always changing, therefore you cannot trust or believe what is around you. Therefore he came up with an alternate world called the world of forms, that he said gave true knowledge, that was always eternal. It was everlasting knowledge, as opposed to the knowledge we think we have, but we don't really, because it's temporary, because it's always changing. Plato's world of forms and concepts and ideals isn't physical. It can't be seen or touched. It's just kind of there, floating around, really. But everything in that world is set in stone, and from there, that's where Plato's sort of famous, is that the word? Theory of forms comes from. That was my phone going off. If you can't remember forms very well, it can be kind of a little bit hard to pick up, but once you've got it, it'll be fine. The main thing you need to remember is that the world of forms is separate to the world of appearances. We're in the world of appearances. Plato said there was the world of forms where these forms lived, is that the right word? But either way, these forms never change. They are eternal. They are lasting forever. They will never change, according to Plato. Plato believed that for every single thing in the world there is a form. And a form is like a sort of applicable template in which everything of that kind of form can fall into. For example, Plato believed there is the form of a chair, and that's like a template. You can't see the form of the chair, but it's just kind of there. Everyone knows. If someone draws a chair, the fact that you know that the form of the chair is the form of a chair allows you to realise that that is a chair. For example, in the world of appearances, there are loads of different chairs. There are red chairs, green chairs, small chairs, big chairs, and that shows a variety of different chairs, but every single chair falls under the form of a chair. Plato called these differences, these different chairs across the world of appearances, particulars. So in the world of appearances, you can't see the form of a chair, you can just see all of the particulars of a form of a chair. If you think of anything physical, it has a form. A book has a form. There is a form of a book that allows us to know it is a book, but you know, there are millions and millions of different books, different colours, different content. They are particulars. They are the particulars of the form of a book. The forms never ever change. Oh, my phone. The forms never ever ever change, and they are there forever. They are totally perfect, Plato said, and they encompass a whole wide range of changing circumstance on the world of appearances. So Plato said that in the world of forms, that's where all the forms are. And in the world of appearances, the world we are in, that's where all the particulars of the forms are. We can't see the forms, we can just see the different types of particular that fit into that form. But because we've seen all the particulars, we know that they are the form of a book or a cake or a chair or whatever it is. However, of course, there are more things in the world than just physical things. There are concepts such as love and beauty and justice and truth. And for those, they're a little bit trickier. So what Plato did is he created a hierarchy of forms. At the bottom of the hierarchy is everything physical, everything empirical that you can touch or see or smell or taste or hear. So basically, you know, chairs, cakes, all the stuff I said before. That stuff is at the bottom of the hierarchy, and there is a form for every single one of those. In the middle of the hierarchy was beauty, justice and truth. These were different because Plato said that although they all have forms, the way in which the form applies itself to the individual is different. So for example, with beauty, there is a form of beauty, and that form of beauty encompasses all the different particulars of beauty that we have on this world. But if I see somebody beautiful, and to me they are beautiful, that's different to someone else seeing someone they like and feel that they're beautiful. The way that the beauty is applied to the person is different. because what I consider beauty, someone else might not. Whereas at the bottom of the hierarchy, what I consider a chair, someone else will consider a chair, because it's a chair, it's set in stone. But with beauty, justice and truth, they are still there as forms, and they apply to everybody, but the way that the concepts apply themselves is different. At the very, very top of Plato's hierarchy of forms is the form of good, and that is the greatest possible form. Plato said that once you saw the form of good, your eyes would be opened to everything that is morally good in the world, because it is the greatest of all forms. Plato actually said that if the form of good ever becomes known to you, that you will, through the form of good, unlock the key to life, because the form of good answers the meaning of life, and big questions like that, because it's a bloody good form, he said. Plato called the form of good the brightest of all realities. And basically, he said that if you saw the form of good at the top of the hierarchy, that your eyes would be opened to the true forms of the second layer of beauty, justice and truth, and different ways in which they apply themselves, but true forms of them. And that if you saw the form of good, you would know every single other form there is to know, ever, 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 ever.